It's been a season of Spanish dominance, huge transfer speculation, and a little heavy metal football. We discuss all that and more coming up on TSTV FC.
Alexis at the back post, but it's Messi!
Are you kidding me? This is off the charts again! Oh, yes! Get it back up! Get it back up! Get it back up! Oh!
Hello and welcome into the inaugural Fall 2016 episode of TSTV FC. I am your host, James Grachos. Very happy to be with you on this late Thursday night as we mourn over another seemingly endless international break. But that's why we've brought in some of the best to quench your thirst for football. With that, I bring in our guests, Nick Del Villar, Daniele Brambilla, I always mess that up, and Grant Michaels. Now, boys, how are we doing tonight?
Doing okay.
Amazing.
I'm doing fine. International break, best time of the year.
All right, enough with that. Okay, let's get into the Premier League. A strange start for the team who spent an incredible amount of money on new talent and coaching. Jose Mourinho's Manchester United sit in 6th place. That's 8 points off leaders Liverpool. Boys, what do you see as the problem here? Grant, let's start with you.
Well, okay, I think it's a mixture of problems, and I'm sure you're going to agree and disagree with this statement, but I think Paul Pogba, as much money as you spent on a summer signing, a record transfer fee for this French center midfielder, not only do you need to get more out of him, I think you got to play him higher up in the field, okay? Right now he's playing more of a center defensive. He's playing in front of Smalling and Eric Bailly, the new signing as well. And I think he needs to push up as well.
Here's the thing. We've seen him in the number 10 role in the Europa League, and they're, 2-2? They have 2 losses to Fenerbahce and a team that I've never heard of. So,
right.
Do you really think that's going to work that well?
Well, I mean, listen, if that doesn't work, okay, and United has had a problem in the past with their back line, okay? With Louis van Gaal, they've always struggled to find another center back with Chris Smalling. They've had Daley Blind there, but now they've signed the new young guy, Bailly. So if that doesn't work, you have to look at Jose Mourinho. Mm-hmm. And if they don't succeed this season and the following season, then it's Jose Mourinho's fault.
Okay, so I think that Juan Mata has been nice in this number 10 role. What do you guys think?
Well, first let me say, I hope it's not a trend, but I agree with you, Grant. But yeah, Juan Mata, I mean, he's a player that I don't really know that well in the sense of where he was really good at positioning. I mean, he's been a shift around here and there. I don't think he's found something there yet. I mean, Pogba, going back to that, yeah, he's a center defensive mid on Mourinho, but then sometimes he brings him here, there. I think everyone just need to find their positioning. Mourinho's got to say, this guy's going to play here, this guy's going to play there, and build on that. You can't keep shifting around. I mean, we're in November. You got to have a team in a tactical mindset by then. This is crazy.
Do you think that we have the right positioning here in Manchester United? The right players are deployed in the right places?
I don't think so. Jose Mourinho usually thrives in a 4-3-3 formation. That's what he employed at Real Madrid with a lot of success. In Inter, when he won the Champions League, he shifted that with the 4-2-3-1, but he doesn't really have the players for 4-2-3-1. He usually plays Pogba in the center defensive midfield with Fellaini, and that doesn't really provide support for Bailly and Smalling. And if you look at it, Manchester United actually had the joint best defense in the Premier League with Tottenham. Mm-hmm. So Tottenham conceded a lot of goals in their last couple of games, but Manchester United had a pretty good defense. It's just a matter of them getting goals.
They need to get Martial back in order. He hasn't had the season that he had last year, and Henrik Mkhitaryan, he's barely played. So we'll have to look at that going forward. Now let's move to some teams who are doing quite well. The 2 teams that have seemed to figure it all out right now are Liverpool and Chelsea, who sit in 1st and 2nd place this season. Chelsea have beat their last 5 opponents by a combined 16-1. And Liverpool have scored 4 goals or more 5 times already this season. Danny, I know you know Antonio Conte quite well. Do you think Chelsea's going to be there at the end, or do you see Klopp's heavy metal football taking over once the season comes to a conclusion?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind Chelsea's going to be there. Conte is one of those coaches that really hits you hard. He's one of those guys that will not let you step off the gas. It's one of those things where I've actually seen him coach before, and the way he yells at his players, the way that he really transmits his passion, will let those players know that they can't get their foot off the gas. It's one of those things where his teams always play best at the end of the year. In fact, look at Juventus when they scored the most points in Serie A history. They really racked up at the end with 10 victories straight in a row. close. There's no doubt in my mind that Chelsea at the end will actually be playing better than they are now.
Well, do you think that they have the depth? There's a little question if they're going to be playing such high-intensity football, and Hazard and Costa have been playing every single game. Do you think that they'll be able to take this at the end? Maybe without that Champions League football, it'll help.
Well, of course, I mean, it comes down to injuries and whatnot. Costa is a little bit older now. I think Hazard's been playing amazing. Conte has said it many times. And they're also looking to getting transfers for the summer break. So I think they also know that that's one of their things right now. Their issues is not having that depth. And Conte knows that really well, which is why during the summer he tried signing on defenders, and he has. But I know coming from the Italian press that he's also interested in many Italian defenders, including Romagnoli, Bonucci at one point. So it's something that they're definitely going to look at, and that's something that their team's going to have at the end by the December break.
Yeah, Italian defenders, not a bad idea.
No.
Nick, what do you think about Liverpool?
Well, I was going to comment on Chelsea, but
Okay, we'll go for Chelsea, and then give me a little bit of Liverpool.
Liverpool's been doing a good job in attack. It's usually the case with Brendan Rodgers in 2013, 2014. That was their forte. But now, obviously, with Klopp, they're still attacking pretty well. It's just their defense. They're always somehow able to concede a goal. Chelsea, they've changed to Conte's 5-defender back line. Azpilicueta, David Luiz, and Gary Cahill have done a good job. N'Golo Kante has been huge. N'Golo Kante and Matic in the defensive midfield has been amazing. They've only conceded a very few amount of goals, so that's definitely good, especially Antonio Conte.
So you got Chelsea.
I think Chelsea's a good candidate. I think City's going to take it eventually.
Okay, Grant, what are your thoughts on Liverpool and Chelsea?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jurgen Klopp brings the fire that Liverpool has lacked in the past couple of years. Just seeing the way that he celebrates. I can think of a game that they went up 2-0 on I think it was City or Chelsea at the time, and he was celebrating like they had won, but the game was early.
Yep.
And he later, said what a mistake that was. But that just shows the passion that this German manager brings to the game. And I think that's what Liverpool needs. I think that's the kind of manager that is going to take the team to the top. Whether they have the talent or not to actually win the Premier League this year, I'm a little hesitant on that.
I wonder about it too, but I will say this team's chemistry looks like of Tottenham last year. And speaking of them, as we wrap up our Premier League chat, these two teams who looked ripe to win it all last year just faced off in the North London derby. So Nick, what have you seen, and can Spurs get it going once again, or will it be Arsenal who once again take North London's crown?
Well, I think Arsenal's going to take it again. Spurs always, for some reason, find a way to mess it up. In a title race of 2, they finished 3rd. But anyways, this season, Tottenham actually haven't lost. So in terms of their defense, they've actually been doing a good job. It's just a matter of having that fluidity up top. It just comes to inconsistent players. This year's Son has been killing it, Heung-min Son. But then Eriksen has kind of been going on and off.
Eriksen has been asleep, it seems like.
Lamella's inconsistently coming in and out. He's not performing well. Sissoko, who was framed as being very inconsistent throughout last season for Newcastle. So it's just a matter of being able to get the whole attack cohesive again.
Guys, any last thoughts?
I mean, Tottenham had their chance last year. If they didn't do it last year, not going to do it again for a while.
I second. I have nothing.
Unfortunately agree with you guys. As a Spurs fan, it just doesn't seem to have the same level of chemistry, passing, and of course they've run into a couple injuries with Alderweireld and Kane. Not going to be able to do much
big losses
with those. But we haven't touched on Manchester City, and we'll make sure to do that and more as we talk Champions League and the rest of Europe coming up next. Hello and welcome back into TSTV FC. We are just ending things here in the Champions League group stage, and there have been some world-class fixtures, including City putting on a great performance against Barca last week, Dortmund and Real, among many great fixtures all over the map. So boys, of the big clubs, who's best positioned to take the Champions League? Now, Danny, I know who you want to say. Let me hear it.
Absolutely, Juventus. And I've been saying Juventus for many years. Juventus this year, it's their year because of Higuain and Dybala up top. Yeah, they lost Pogba, but the midfield wasn't a problem for me in the past. It was the forwards. Now with Higuain, they can change the game instantly. They have that caliber up top to be one of the top 3 attacking.
Okay, so, yes, their midfield's solid, but the thing that gets you over the top in the Champions League is superstar players. How are they going to do that without Pogba?
Well, Pogba was just one of the many superstar players. The defense is the best in the world, no doubt about that. Higuain is a more impactful player than Pogba will ever be for Juventus. Pjanic is going to replace Pogba in that role. Marquisio is coming back from injury. They got Zamoa back from injury as well. They're going to get Witsel in the January transfer, which is set.
Okay.
And they're going to have some young players come in that position.
Here, Bayern Munich. Here's why Bayern Munich has a more elite back line.
Elite back line than Juventus.
Elite back line, yes.
Chiellini,
Here's why.
Bonucci, Barzagli, all I have to say.
Listen, they're classic. They're classic. But in 2 years, I think it'll be a different story. However, you look at Bayern Munich's backline right now. Just if they don't match up.
The only thing I'm going to say is
Boateng and Hummels. What do you need more in
Hummels' bad day is a lot worse than Bonucci's and Chiellini's
Hummels'
bad day.
Hummels has a lot of bad days.
He has a lot of bad days.
He does have a bad day. Yeah, he does. He does.
So
as many
whose
center
backline
halves
would
do.
you rather have?
For the Champions League title?
Yeah, a back line.
Back
Munich.
line?
So that includes
Juventus.
David Alaba, of course.
Yeah, Juventus would be.
Still,
My
Philip Lahm on the right side.
He's too old. He's too old. He's not as impactful.
Okay, don't give me the too old
He's too
argument.
old.
I don't want to hear anything
Lahm?
from you.
Lahm is too old.
you're
Absolutely.
gonna
The Juventus back line is too old, okay?
gotta be kidding
The
me,
entire line is too old.
Barzagli, Bonucci, Chiellini.
Yes, and what's the
Put on
average age?
stellar
Like
performance.
32 years old?
Absolutely.
Come on, people.
Rugani
3
and
years,
Benatia
3
on the
years they're
bench.
retired. 3 years they're retired.
All
I'll
right,
give you
Nick,
the-
who do you got winning the Champions League?
I agree with Grant. I think Bayern Munich is going to take it. Simply
Both
because of
wrong.
their depth in the midfield. They have Lewandowski. They have Douglas Costa. They have Ribery, Robin. If they're all fit, then they could do it. If they're injured, that's a bigger issue.
So what do you see with the problem? Like sometimes Thomas Muller, he's on the bench. Sometimes he's playing in the number 10 role. Where do you see him best? As a two-striker thing with him and Lewandowski?
It's definitely him in the number 10 role. If he plays there behind Lewandowski, Bayern Munich is going to thrive. Last year versus Atletico Madrid, that's where Pep Guardiola didn't put him. He put him on the right wing on the bench, so that's not where he should play. I think Juventus have always had good attackers, especially in the last years. Higuain with Real Madrid didn't perform necessarily well in the Champions League. Morata did. Morata came through.
He's a
in-
Champions League gamer.
In 2014, 2015, he scored some very vital goals, and he should have. He scored one versus Bayern Munich, which is really important.
Absolutely.
Last
He should
year,
have had
that
a third.
game Morata and Pogba had was legendary.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And Cuadrado had a good game too.
Yep.
Juventus had a good game, and arguably it was the ref who also had a good game for Bayern Munich.
Well,
Yeah.
we have to touch
Absolutely.
on this at least once. Barca finally lost, and they lost to Guardiola's new team. Do you
Yeah.
think City can finally make a Champions League final?
No, absolutely not.
no,
Too
no.
long.
Not this year.
Too early.
No,
Why not? Why
Look,
not? They have Aguero, they have De Bruyne, and they have Gundogan, who's playing a world-class role right now.
Listen, they are, but they like everyone was talking about. These teams have off days. Okay, when you match them up, you see Barca's front three, you see Madrid's front three, you see Juve's strikers. Per person, I think those teams are much stronger than City's. And then when you look at the back lines, it's completely
that's a good
it's
point.
completely outclassed. You look at Bayern Munich. This is why they're going to win the Champions League. You have Lahm and Alaba as your outside backs, and the German national team starting center backs in one squad with
best
Neuer,
goalkeeper in the world.
with the best goalkeeper in the world. That back five is worth how many millions of dollars? The talent right there. You look at City's back line, it's good by Premier League standards, not by if that. Good. There's another debate for another day. But when it comes to facing teams like Ronaldo and Gonzalo Higuain and Dybala and Messi and Benzema and these kind of they're going to fold. They're going to fold.
Absolutely, and that's the problem that any Premier League has. Really, they don't have a defense. That's why they're all trying to buy from different places. They just don't have that defense, and it all shows to you how much defense is important. Chelsea, when they won the Champions League a couple of years ago, they didn't win it because they had so and so up top. Yeah, they had good players up top, but
They didn't have
they
great
won
players.
it. Yeah, they had great, but they won it because of their defense. And you got to be able to park the bus at the right moment. City or any Premier League team can't park the bus at any moment. That game, they have a great coach. They're going to have games like that where they're going to do well. They're going to have games where they're going to do terribly.
Yeah, good.
All right, well, of course, the park the bus mentality is going to come from the Italians. So before we move on from the Champions League, is there any surprise teams that we've seen? Sevilla, for example, or Bayern Leverkusen. Leicester, undefeated. Any
You
surprises?
took mine. You took
All right, well,
mine.
let's hear it. Let's hear
Yes, Leicester City.
it. Do you think they
Of course.
can they make it past the round of 16? Is it possible?
Listen, anything is possible when you're playing Leicester, okay? They showed it last year. Leicester's the surprise team. since I've been alive,
Yep.
since the existence of Leicester City. This is the first time they've ever been in the Champions League, and to be in the first, despite how weak their group is, I think is a huge accomplishment. A huge accomplishment. And I think, as long as they continue on the track, they're gonna go into the round of 16. And when you get into knockout football, and I'm sure you guys will echo this, anything can happen the day of. So yeah, they have a chance. Do I think they're going to be
an Icelandic shot?
They have an Icelandic shot. That's perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Did Iceland have? Were they favorites in England? Probably not. Did they win? Yeah.
was
Are they the
England,
better
though.
team? Debatable. But on the day, they played better.
It was England, though.
So Leicester City can make it, but Manchester City can't. I think Manchester City has a good shot of making the Champions League final, actually.
They got lucky last year
I
already.
don't-
They're
I
going to get
don't
lucky
think
2
they'll
years
make
in a
it.
row.
Pep Guardiola has instilled a new style of football for them. I think, if anything, City have been kind of inconsistent, as they usually are in the Champions League. So I think they're going to make it. They're going to go into the quarters playing really well. And then if luck goes on their way, I think they might just make the final.
Yeah.
Trust in Pep. I will say it over and over again. Kevin De Bruyne is a top 5 player in the world.
Trust in Ranieri. Trust in Ranieri.
Yeah, well, it's an easy pick for me. I think Dortmund. I've been eyeing Dortmund from the start, and I think it's a year where they can do something. The Bundesliga, it's been going decent for them, but I think they want something more. And same with Sevilla. Sevilla is a team that has won in the past. Teams that win more. And so Sevilla has, they perform pretty well. Their defense is pretty good. You've seen against Juventus where they could defend that with Higuain, Dybala, and Cuadrado coming at them. And that's what you need in the Champions League. You need to be able to make those games where you got to sit back and wait, and that's exactly what they have.
All right, fair enough. Now, Sevilla, we just mentioned, they're doing well in the Champions League, and they sit just 1 point off third spot in La Liga, while Real and Barca are about where they should be as we look at the table right now. They seem to have been a little bit of vulnerable at times. So do you see any team outside Real and Barca, Atleti, this is including them, do you see a tight finish at the end in La Liga?
No.
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 Next question.
All right, well, that's fair enough. I mean, you don't see anything from Sevilla? I think this team has been pretty impressive. No? Still nothing?
Fourth place.
Fourth place?
Fourth place.
So
Yeah.
they're not going to win Europa next year when they can't win it this year?
Maybe. I think Barcelona and Real Madrid are definitely going to be, and Atletico, they're definitely going to be the top 3. Villarreal and Sevilla are going to fight it for the 5th spot. I really don't see Sevilla and Villarreal really challenging for the La Liga crown. It's kind of, it was a surprise when Atletico Madrid did it, a real big surprise in my opinion. But now they're kind of made themselves up top. They got a lot of good players. It's going to take a couple of years for Sevilla and Villarreal to be able to put up any challenge.
All right, since we breezed through this really quick, any team that can beat Bayern Munich in the German League, yes or no?
No.
No.
How about Juventus in, I know your answer. You guys.
No.
Could be Roma.
Oh!
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. Someone's going to be excited by that.
Could
All
be
right.
Roma.
That'll be enough
Don't
of
tell
that.
this guy. Could be Roma.
All right, it could be Roma.
Could be.
All right, it's been a great summer of transfers, both good and not so good. So we'll touch on that and a little speculation. So, and before we finish, we'll make a couple predictions in some of the biggest international fixtures to come. We'll be right back. Thanks for sticking with us here on TSTV FC. Finally, we have our long-awaited transfer talk. Now let's stay away from the Pogbas and the Higuains here, boys. So I want to ask, and whoever wants to take it first, who has been the most influential transfer thus far?
Well, I guess I'll go. I think Sadio Mane for Liverpool has been very influential. He's got 5 goals already in the Premier League. He's up there with Roberto Firmino.
He's the most influential transfer for you?
I think
He's the reason that they're at the top of the table.
I think so. If it wasn't for him, they would have 5 goals less. Firmino didn't hit it off going into the Premier League. Sadio Mane, he's been in the Premier League. He's accustomed to rigor. So now he's able to partner up with Coutinho and Firmino. And the goals for Liverpool speak for themselves.
That's a good point.
Ibrahimovic.
Really?
Yeah.
Even despite everything that's happened in the last 5 or 6 games?
He's the reason that they're in I'm not saying you're not in a great position, but they're in an okay position because of Ibrahimovic. Ibrahimovic, anywhere he goes, he's going to do well. That's no doubt. But he's that figurehead on that team. Yeah, Rooney's gone.
I agree with that.
And so if you look at Manchester United right now, not only have they gained a lot of money because of them, this is off the side, but on performance-wise, I think Ibrahimovic has performed to a really good level for Manchester United that allowed them to be in the position that they are. And even though that's not great, it's still better than they would have done without Ibrahimovic.
You don't think Rashford could have come in and done the same thing that he did at the end of last season? I don't know. I have to say, he's a pretty dynamic player, and his best position is a striker. It's not a winger.
Marcus Rashford, yes.
Yeah, unquestionable. Like, Martial, he can move very nicely out to the wing. Rashford, that's not the case. I think they need to get him in the striking position.
I think Rashford's the future of this club because, Ibra's only got a couple years left. There's no secret about that.
Do you think he stays for another year?
Well, let me get.
I hope so.
Let me tell you this, though. Juventus asked for Rashford in the Pogba deal. United said no.
Yeah, no
Really?
way.
Yeah.
Well, that just shows that United's plan with the future, with Marcus Rashford. That he is the future of this attacking club.
Yeah, the attacking club.
Yes, which has been lackluster at best this season, but.
So who do you think is Ibrahimovic your favorite transfer? Or do
Well,
you
I would agree with that, but I'm going to go with Janssen, the Dutch striker. You got to go with the Dutch striker. I know.
You got to be joking, right?
I know you're not a fan of that, and I'm really just trying to get under your skin.
Okay, Jesus.
However,
I don't even know where to start with that.
I do think that is going to be a successful payout.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's going to pay dividends in the
4
Premier
years?
League.
Okay.
In 4 years. Who cares? The guy's 20, 21 years old?
Sure.
He was a top leading goal scorer in the Eredivisie last year in the Dutch league. And I think there's so much pressure on Harry Kane right now for club and country that Janssen is going to come in, he's going to bring this fresh light, this fresh breath of air. He's never had any Premier League
Wait, so you're serious about the Janssen deal?
Listen, in a couple of years, I could be very serious. You could give me a ring in a couple of years. Janssen will be the leading goal scorer of the Barclays Premier League.
Oh my!
Well, let me add to that.
This isn't just PPL, is it?
Could be.
Milik for Napoli's.
Milik. Milik is good. Yes.
He just got injured, so people aren't really looking at him much.
Right. Yeah.
But he's that player to
Still
them
playing,
that
man.
is the Higuain
Napoli's
role.
still playing.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not messing around here. Anyone else that strikes your mind? Eric Bailly, another Manchester United guy?
Yeah, Eric Bailly, fantastic. I mean, I'm glad you brought him up. I think that's, like I said earlier, the pairing with Chris Smalling is what United has needed. And nothing to take away from Daley Blind. I'm a huge fan of Daley Blind. I'm Dutch. I love any Dutchman. That's why I bring up Janssen. But I think Bailly, with his pace, he really is a true center half. And I think that's what United needs in order to have more success, not only in the league, but when you go abroad across Europe in the Champions League. So I think that's also another mention.
No surprise with all that transfer money coming into the Premier League that I will also stay in it. Gundogan is my favorite transfer so far, even after coming off of surgery. He's been really good. Another little bit of speculation we got for you. Two of the biggest and most successful strikers, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Antoine Griezmann, continue to flood the papers. Recent reports are saying Aubameyang rejected Arsenal this summer for £80 million, and Griezmann is saying, I would love to play with Pogba. So come next season, who is more likely to be sporting a new shirt? Nick.
Oh, it's a tough one. I don't think Griezmann is going to leave Atletico Madrid, so I also don't think Aubameyang should and would leave.
I hope he doesn't. But
Borussia Dortmund. But if I had to place a bet on any of the two, I'd say Aubameyang is more likely.
I mean, it's not even a bet. It's a for sure bet. Aubameyang is definitely going to leave, in my opinion.
who do you think he's going to go to? If you're so confident?
Premier League.
You think he's going to?
Premier League.
He said the only club he wants to go to is Real Madrid if it's not Dortmund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also. Pogba was taking Spanish lessons.
Talk is cheap.
He's going to go anywhere they offer him money, and that's the reality of transfer right now. And I don't really. Real Madrid has no need currently.
Yeah.
They have Morata
And Benzema.
and they have Benzema.
I don't know
They've
who the
got
better option
Cantera
is
kids
anymore.
coming up. They're not going to get him. They're not the Florentino Perez isn't spending that money anymore. And the only people that have money nowadays are Premier League. And so he's definitely going to go something like Chelsea, somewhere like that. United's got their thing figured out.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of Arsenal. Would be really interesting in my opinion. So Aubameyang for sure is going to leave. Griezmann, Atletico is going to keep him.
You think that this is the final time where it's not Dortmund and Atletico being the farm team for the rest of the world?
Well, Atletico, I think is done with that. Their fans are fed up, and Griezmann is just too important for their
He's
team.
too good.
And also, yeah, it'd just be another $100 million saga for,
Well, that's the
for
thing.
Manchester United.
It would be $100 million.
It would be. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
problem.
It's
is
$100 million.
how much money does United need to spend in order to win?
Well, clearly it's not enough so
Right.
far.
Well, that's
Well,
the basics
clearly.
was set. I mean, Pogba's not worth $100 million. They paid for him.
I don't know about
I'm a huge Pogba fan.
But how
Pogba's
old's
not
the
worth
guy? He's
100
only
million.
22, 23.
Well, absolutely, but
He's not worth
centerman.
$100 million
no
this
one's
year.
worth $100 million except for Messi.
No.
And
Messi,
Neymar.
Ronaldo.
Messi, Ronaldo,
Listen,
Neymar.
No,
Listen.
they can make an impact. Pogba, centerman, yeah, you can make an impact, but you can't change games
For the next
consistently
10
like,
years.
both of them.
Pogba can make an impact for the next 10 years. That's why you invest $100 million. Messi and Ronaldo are not worth $100 million right now because how old are they? 29?
No, they're still worth $100 million,
30.
in my opinion.
They still might be worth
Wait,
that
so
money.
Griezmann isn't worth? He's
I
also
think
pretty young.
Griezmann has a fantastic case for being worth that
What's he,
much money.
24, 25 years
Yeah,
old?
yeah, he has to be
he's about
23 or
that.
24.
But I think Pogba, what is he, 23?
Yeah,
23-ish, 24.
The guy's got another 10 years to drive United to the top.
Yeah, maybe he'll be like Torre in the end. He'll just stop caring and just sit back, pass the ball around.
There's another route that could possibly happen, but I
No,
think
I
when
don't
you
think he's gonna do
when
that.
you look at Antoine Griezmann, I think the talent is clearly there. He displayed it very well in the World Cup this past year, probably the player of the tournament, personally. And I think that he's so valuable. He is the player at Atletico Madrid that drives them in the top 3, the top 4 every single year.
New stadium coming up as well. So
Yeah,
it'd be
I
tough to
don't see him
imagine
leaving him.
leaving.
I would love to see him in the Premier League playing alongside Pogba, the two Frenchmen.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd love to see him go too, but he's not going to go anywhere.
I don't think so.
He's not going to Juventus, no?
I would hope. I would only hope.
All right.
I hope not.
He recently posted an Instagram pic with Dybala. So.
Whoa!
Did you guys see it? I know I saw it.
We're getting toward the business end of the World Cup qualifying with a couple huge matches on the horizon. Brazil just had their way with Argentina. Not so great, but plenty of good fixtures to come. So we will go with predictions for you guys. I'm going to name an upcoming fixture. I just want a little how and why and the final result. First, Nick, USA, Mexico. What do you got?
I've got a 2-2 draw.
Ooh, spicy.
USA, because they're at home, 2-1.
Wow, surprising. Well, why do you think that they're going to come
Mexico
up
is
on top?
home in the U.S.
Is it going to be Pulisic?
Well, the U.S. at home especially, I mean, watching the games, 2-0 from a year ago, they just have something else at home. Mexico, to me, I've been watching them closely, and they're not ready for me yet in terms of being that quality opponent. Because Mexico, I mean, on paper is better than the U.S.
Chicharito's also not having the year that he was.
Absolutely, right, exactly.
Sure.
And that's why the U.S. being at home, being this game that a lot of people have been talking about recently, Pulisic being in great form, Klinsmann, having to shovel a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be USA for me.
Grant?
I go 1-1.
Okay.
It's a draw.
All right. Let's go to Serbia and Wales. Two teams. Wales had an amazing European Cup. Gareth Bale looking like the Gareth Bale of Tottenham days, and now he's kind of brought it into this year. So what do you guys got for that? Pretty good matchup.
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup. It's one of those matchups that you don't necessarily have huge players on either side.
But a lot of good
regardless
ones.
Of Bale.
A lot of good ones.
Yeah, but a lot of good ones. I think Wales takes the lead 2-1, or takes the win 2-1. I should
Wales
say.
as well. They're really confident right now.
They're confident. I agree.
They are. They're feeling.
Yeah, I'd say Wales again, 2-0.
Yeah, normally maybe 2 years ago I would have said the opposite. I would have said
Yeah.
Serbia. They have players. They have good players. So, but I'm going to also take Wales. Argentina and Colombia. Now, Argentina is going to be wanting some revenge, or are they just in poor form? Because they have been as of late.
They are in poor form, 2 losses in a row. That's not looking good. Colombia didn't play so well versus Chile today, so I don't know if you guys saw that game. Colombia and Chile both had pretty poor games. I'm just going to say Colombia's going to edge it. Argentina's going to keep going with their poor form. I'm going to go 1-0.
Ooh,
Argentina. For me, it's an easy choice. Colombia hasn't been playing too great. Their star players have been slightly slacking off the last couple of years, and Falcao's back. James, he's still a little bit mysterious to me.
Well, maybe they can get our boy Icardi in there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Argentina up top they can play anyone.
It's insane.
They can play anyone, and I think as long as they get their tactics together, their back line together. I mean, up top they just got to throw them out there. It's
0
coming
goals. 0 goals in the last 2 games though. That's not looking good.
Well,
That's true.
They
I
lost
think
versus
turned around,
Paraguay.
though. I think they turned around. It's a great question. Who wants to play striker for the Argentine national team? Not me. I mean, not when you have Dybala, Higuain, Aguero, Carlos Tevez. I mean, you can just go down the list, and these guys, I mean, it's ridiculous. I think they turn it around because they can't lose 3 games in a row. They can't. They can't. And, you know, I'm praying that they don't, because then I'm going to, you know, look like a fool, you know. I think Argentina takes the win 2-1.
Yeah, the pressure's on, and when the pressure's on in Argentina, you don't want to screw around.
No,
Remember
you shouldn't.
Diabala's opening match, he got sent off in his first game. Not great. So wonderful stuff, gentlemen. That's all we got for TSTV FC. Huge thanks to our panelists, Joe Morris, Matt Adams, and a huge thanks to our director, Eric Goodman. He's been in wonderful form this season, and I know he's been dying to get out here and speak the truth. We promise this time we will be back soon, and until next time, I'm James Grachos. Cheers.